it's going to appear any moment. They have it on. So maybe take that. Take that, and I'm going to record my own, but take one copy on the side.
Testing, testing, testing. 1, 2, 3. Testing. You hear it? Testing, testing. You got it? You're working it good? Keep talking, you guys. Hello, hello, guys. How's it going? Can you hear me? Testing. 1, 2, 3. 1, 3. Good, good. All right.
For all of us now? How are you? Good, bud. Good. Thank God for the lights. Yeah, no worries,
I don't know there. Oh, now I see.
Check, 1, 2. My check, 1, 2. My check.
Perfect. Okay, you're good. Thank you.
Thank you. Bye.
Bye.
Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Mic check. Hello, hello, everyone. How are you? Good, good. How are you? Mic check 1, 2, 3, 4. Okay, no problem. He's supposed to arrive at 11:30. I guess because it was like not sound before? The wind or? Oh. No, I haven't changed it. Okay. Okay, sounds good.
The live mic.
This is mine.
Is that your blue cable as well?
No?
Just look at this. Se puede poner por ahí, just hang it off or something. But...
Está tirado en el piso. En el piso no molesta.
Está bien, pero cuando pusieron esto no, he didn't put it back, so.
Okay.
Yeah.
Vale, gracias, papito.
Audio check 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Audio 1, 2.
1, 2, 3, 4. Hablando. 1, 2, 3. 1, 2. Uno, dos, tres, 1, 2, 3, probando audio. Probando audio para AFP. Testing audio for AFP. Testing audio for AFP. Testing radio for AFP. I don't know. Testing radio for AFP.
Welcome. You gotta stop meeting like this. No sense of humor here? What? All right, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to make a brief statement. I'll take a few pertinent and relevant questions, and then I'll be going over there. So the little story here is Navarro's going to prison today. You guys will certainly focus on that little story, but what I suggest to you as journalists is that there's two really bigger stories that you might want to report on and even do some research on, because these are big issues. This is not about me. One of the big stories is about what is really an unprecedented assault on the constitutional separation of powers and the doctrine of executive privilege as a critical tool dating back to George Washington of effective presidential decision making. When I walk in that prison today, the justice system, such as it is, will have done a crippling blow to the constitutional separation of powers and executive privilege. The second and related story has to do with the emergence of lawfare and the partisan weaponization of our justice system, which we have seen come to this country with a vengeance since the coming of Donald John Trump as president, and that keeps getting worse. So let me walk you through those two stories, and again, I'm hoping as journalists you will do some background, some research. I'm asking you to fact check everything I say today, and write the bigger stories here, which I think are the important ones. So let's talk about some facts here. I am the first senior White House advisor in the history of our republic that has ever been charged with this alleged crime. And I say alleged because for hundreds of years, this has not been a crime, and for 50 years, the Department of Justice has maintained the principle of absolute testimonial immunity. And it was only with my case that somehow that has changed. And here's where the homework is, because the big constitutional separation of powers are these. Can Congress compel a senior White House advisor, what they call the alter ego of a president, to testify before Congress? And executive privilege goes back to George Washington and his remarks to the Congress regarding the Jay Treaty. And he said very simply and clearly, succinctly, elegantly, that to write to the Congress, he said, I cannot command you as members of Congress to come to me. You cannot command me to come to you. And the reason is the constitutional separation of powers. And as the legal doctrines have evolved, and the Supreme Court has been very adamant about the sanctity of executive privilege, that privilege has extended to what's called alter egos of the president, which is what I am as one of his highest advisors. And the principle here related to effective presidential decision making is simply that if a president does not have the ability between and among his advisors to get confidential information in the sanctity of the Oval Office, he will make poor decisions which will harm the republic. That's what this is about. That's what this is about. And as this case has worked through the legal process, there are a number of big issues that we will be going through on the appeal that Mr. Woodward in the back there will lead with Stan Brand, two of the finest scholars in this area imaginable. So the issues, again, please do your research. It's, can Congress compel someone like me to testify? The answer has been no ever since George Washington said that to the Jay Treaty. What constitutes executive privilege? Is it presumptive? If not presumptive, what does a formal invocation look like? In my case, I had an evidentiary hearing for the first time in history. I presented just a mountain of direct testimony and circumstantial evidence related to emails, correspondence, phone calls, and visits with the president and his top aides. And at the end of that day, the judge made the novel choice to say privilege had not been invoked. And it was absurd. It was probably the most absurd element of this case. So the appeals court and then the Supreme Court will ponder that issue, and it's a really important issue. A third issue has to do with the fact, and this should chill you, okay? If you're ever in my position and you have to go to trial, it should chill you to know that the judge has the discretion to strip you of any defense before you ever get to a jury. How can that be? That can't be the law. And the way that happened in this case was through the misapplication of an antiquated, misapplied precedent of the lower court that had no bearing on anything related to cases involving executive privilege. It was absurd. And in a related case with Stephen K. Bannon, Judge Nichols released him pending appeal with one line, released because I think this may be reversed. And the thing that Nichols said, top of the list, was licavoli. That's the four-letter word in this case. The last issue is something called the rule of lenity. Again, put yourself in my shoes. The law, up to the point where I was convicted, said one thing, which is to say, I was doing my duty to this country, the Constitution, and my oath of office, according to the Department of Justice, according to the Supreme Court. They flipped that. The rule of lenity says, if they flip that, I'm not guilty, okay? Try the next person who knows that the law has been changed, but you can't do that. So these are the big constitutional issues that we will fight first at the appeals court and then to the Supreme Court. Now let me turn to the partisan nature of this. Fact check me on this, folks. Fact check me. Every person who has taken me on this road to that prison is a friggin' Democrat and a Trump hater. Let me walk you through it. It starts with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi, who forms the J6 committee, blows away all the rules, improperly constituted, unduly authorized, and unlawful committee. She puts on 7 Democrats. Every single one of them, fact check it, every single one of those went after Donald Trump through 2 impeachments and the Russia hoax, and all they want to do is stop Trump. And the 2 Republicans on there were not Republicans at all. Liz Cheney, who hates Donald Trump because Trump told the truth about her daddy. Her daddy killed people with the Iraq and Afghanistan war, and everybody in this country knows that. Pelosi, the J6 committee, they subpoenaed me. The Congress itself, when they voted my contempt charge, a strict party vote line. If the House had been held by Republicans, I wouldn't be here. The Democrats pushed me, what? And then we get the Department of Justice. Boy, is that a misnomer now. The 2 prosecutors in the case, one of them, we got a letter she wrote to Bill Barr showing her never Trump credentials. And they are the ones who, during the trial, consistently insisted I was acting above the law when they wouldn't let me explain to the jury why I was obeying the law. I get convicted. Then it goes to the jury. Did I mention the jury? Look, I love anybody who serves on a jury, okay? I do not criticize the jury itself as individuals. But would you, as a Republican and a member of the Trump administration, want to sit before 12 people, registration pool in which 95% of the people voted for Joe Biden? That's astonishing. So I get in front of that jury. The judge had already stripped me of the defenses, and I'm facing that jury. And by the way, the judge who stripped me of the defenses fact-checked me on this. Before he got appointed to the bench by Barack Obama, he was what's called a bundler. You know what a bundler is? He bundled checks to give to the campaign of candidate Obama. And coincidentally, he winds up on the bench. Democrat, 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 Democrat. The final issue is I go to the appeals court. The appeals court to get simple release pending my appeal, which is the normal course. And it was given immediately to Stephen Bannon. No. The judge fights me on that. But the appeals court, think about this. Mr. Woodward files that appeal. It comes into 3 judges. 2 of them are Republican. 1 is a Democrat. We've got your appeal. Time passes, a short period of time. We get the ruling back. Appeal denied. 3 Obama judges on the 3 panels. 3. How did that bait and switch happen? That's supposed to be a random draw. You know what the odds of that are? Less than 20%. Democrat, Democrat, Democrat. From start to finish. This is the partisan weaponization of our judicial system. Please write these big stories. Now, the last thing I want to say is that that's prison. That's where they take your freedom. But as hard as it will be on me, and as hard as it will be on anybody who is in there, it's harder on their families. And this is who those Democrats have hurt. This is who the Democrats have hurt. I will walk proudly in there and do my time. But what they do to people, and by the way, fact check this. I will be the only person in that prison who's been convicted of a misdemeanor. A misdemeanor. Everybody else is in there for felonies. I will gather strength from this. Donald John Trump is the nominee for the Republican presidential campaign. While I'm away for the next 4 months, my new book, it's called The New MAGA Deal, the guidebook to the Trump platform, the unofficial guidebook to the Trump platform. Is being published by Don Jr.'s publishing house, Winning Strategies. And if anybody wants to get an advance copy, if I may do a little marketing here, you go to newmagadeal.com. That book will be ready on the eve of the Republican National Convention, and it will be an important tool to show the people of America what MAGA principles are about. You want anything? Know about the 100 policies in the first 100 days of the new Trump administration to make us more prosperous and safer and secure, to deal with that southern border, to deal with China, Russia, Iran, and North Korea. NewMagaDeal.com. That will be it. And I am just tired of the Democrats saying that Donald Trump and his followers and supporters are extremists. This was the man. This was the man. Make no mistake about this. For 4 years, peace, prosperity, security, price stability. What do we have now? Inflation, an out-of-control southern border, war clouds growing in the Taiwan Strait, in Gaza, in Ukraine. That's Joe Biden. NewMAGADeal.com. All right, I'm going to stop there. I'll take a few questions, and then I'm going to make my journey across the street. We'll start with you, ma'am. My mission is to defend the constitutional separation of powers and executive privilege. And I knew from day one of getting that subpoena, based on my experiences in the White House, from reading the Office of Legal Counsel memos at the Department of Justice, that absolute testimonial immunity was in place. McGahn, Dearborn, Conway, Porter. I can give you a whole long string of senior White House advisors who did exactly what I did and were never prosecuted. And if I had gone to Congress and played the piecemeal game with them, I would have done damage to the separation of powers, and I would not have been doing my duty. I would not have been obeying my oath of office. Next question. Yes, sir.
Are you nervous, and have you spoken to Donald Trump?
I am not nervous. I'm not talking about, I'm going to claim executive privilege on the Donald Trump conversations. I've had the greatest amount of support from Donald Trump and his team, and look, if they can put me in prison, they can put you in prison. Make no mistake about that. And make no mistake about this. They are coming after Donald Trump with the same tactics, tools, and strategies they used to put me over there today. Okay? Think about this. Stripped of all defenses before a jury trial. That's going to happen to him. Democrats in all the jurisdictions he's in. Fannie Willis in Atlanta. The guy in Manhattan, Bragg. And then, of course, Jack Smith at the Department of Injustice, as we like to call it on my side of the fence. So I'm pissed. That's what I'm feeling right now. But I'm also afraid of only one thing. I'm afraid for this country, because what they're doing should have a chilling effect on every American, regardless of their party. If they come for me, they can come for you. What else you got? Take two more. Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am. Poquito. You can. Now, I can't speak to the camera, though. Yeah. Hang on. Is there anybody else? Yeah. Yes, ma'am. Look, J6 committee did not investigate, in my judgment, the most important aspects of how that riot occurred. I wrote in my book, In Trump Time, in the chapter about J6, that the last three people on God's good earth who wanted violence that day on Capitol Hill were Stephen K. Bannon, President Trump himself, and me. And the reason is that the fact that that violence occurred deprived this country of having a review under the perfectly legal 1887 Electoral Count Act of the votes. Okay? What I think needs to happen, and I hope the Republicans, are you listening, louder, Mac? Are you listening, folks up there? Jim Jordan, my brothers who I used to ride with on Air Force One, you need to remember that J6 committee has some unfinished business. There were more FBI informants up on Capitol Hill that day, possibly instigating that crowd, than the FBI itself could keep track of. There were stories about that. Why did Nancy Pelosi not provide more Capitol Hill police? Why did Mark Esper, the Secretary of Defense, have the National Guard so far away? And as for the destruction of evidence, sir, look, the things they are doing, Hillary Clinton, like cleansing her, I mean, there's so many things these Democrats have done that would actually justify prison, you juxtapose that with me, all I've done is my duty. All I have done is my duty to this country, the Constitution, my commander-in-chief, and to my oath of office. All right, one more.
Do you want a pardon either for President
No.
Biden or Trump?
No,
if you become president?
this is going to the Supreme Court. My mission in this, and I will have served my time by the time that mission is completed, is to get this in front of the Supreme Court, and I hope that they will put politics aside and look at, this is what they call a case, this is important, this is what they call the case of first impressions, okay? There are so many novel legal issues in this case that require the settlement, again, another legal term, of good law on the subject, settling good law. It's crying out for the Supreme Court to do this. But the tragedy here is because I have not been released pending appeal, I will have already done my time before that is done. But that's the price of living in Joe Biden's America right now. God bless you all. I'll see you on the other side. All right, do me a favor. When we get past this curve, if you could let me kind of get on with my business, I'd appreciate it. I've been most generous with my time. Can we disperse now? Let me get done what I need to do. Is that what you need? You got what you need. Okay, so give me some space now. Thank you. Thanks. Okay.